Well, 2 sets down and we've still got 2 more to come. And Aware Gaming, the formerly known as Los Amigos who made it through, just defeated Saw Gaming. But now, Toli, they've got to face off against the #1 team in America, Most Wanted.
A very impressive set in the last one, but like you mentioned, it's such a dominating team coming out of Most Wanted, able to win the SCL Summer Split LAN against Eager in a very epic best-of-5 set.
Yeah, and they will face off against Eager later on, but let's focus on this set first of all. Aware Gaming, you know, taking that 2-0 against Saw is a fantastic boon for them coming to this matchup against Most Wanted as well. But the main point I want to talk about is, do you expect to see them maybe keep the style where they go for that very first game pressure that they did against Saw?
It depends, because you're trying to ride off of the momentum, and this could be one way you extend it by going for the early invade, unless you're worried that Most Wanted is going to predict it. So you have to be able to throw that at Most Wanted, but at the same time, you have to know when to peel it back. If they get spotted by a ward, I would expect no invades.
Yeah, I mean, this core coming out from Aware here with Boronic as well as Boronic as well as Cameron doing a very good job in the dual lane. The whole team as a whole looking very, very strong here. I want to see if they can continue this into the next set against a much more dominant trio from Most Wanted.
Between the Guardians, the jungle, and the mid laner, Clow, Koiz, and xCynosurex, they've been playing together for so long now, so Aware, they need to really get on the ball rolling early and get this advantage. Try to go for those early Gold Furies.
Well, let's see if they can do that for this game 1 then. Picks and Man should be ready now, and we'll see exactly how this one plays out between the two. Aware are looking for a potential absolute nosebleed situation of getting 6 points in week 1 in North America.
Already 3 points after their win against Soar. Now looking against Most Wanted. They really need to lock down these picks and bans, because their last set was pretty solid, I would say, against Soar during the picks and bans.
It was. I think the picks and bans overall was very, very touted very smartly between the team as well. They picked Zeus predominantly, though, over a Raijin, which is something that I'd normally say is a little bit risque, so to speak, but they played it very well. Not
having an escape onto the Zeus, but at the same time, it was a good enough bait, because they tried to dive the Zeus numerous occasions. They weren't able to find the kill, and the detonage just devastated Soar.
And I think that's the thing Boronic realizes what to do as well on Zeus, which is something a lot of people don't, is that if you're going to get focused, you just have to deal damage, because you're not going to escape.
That's what you want to do, and sometimes you even want to build maybe Bancroft's talent into that just to get that more of a power spike.
Well, bans coming through, Guan Yu, Nemesis, Fafnir, and Ao Kwang, pretty much the 4 you expect. Susano is available, and we have seen xCynosurex play that before, so it wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to it.
We've seen him play a lot of junglers besides the Susano, you know, going into the Fenrir, Naja, Thor. You can't really ever predict what xCynosurex is actually going to do, but it's going to be the Susano to start things off for Most Wanted.
Now, when I'm looking at this as well, Tolly, one thing we know about Most Wanted, they played the last LAN together, right? So they got to meet each other in real life, find those bonds, find that synergy. When you were playing as a player and you finally got to meet your team for the first time and get all together and stuff, that bond just seems to get better as a team chemistry.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever you meet each other, you're staying at the same hotel, you see how you act outside of Smite, and you've been playing Smite together for so long. More than likely, these characters on Most Wanted have been playing together outside of Smite in other games, so having the real-life activities just makes that bond so much stronger.
Well, we're going to go straight back to what they just did here. Athena and Zeus are the 2 priority picks for them. Kenshin, who is actually playing for them today, is having a pretty good time of things, and the Zeus as well.
It's going to be a nice setup for Aware. They still have their jungle options to pair up with this. Thor is available. Naja would be not a bad opportunity, because you would have the double bounces between the Zeus and the rings.
That's kind of, I didn't even think about that. Double bounces as well. And we saw Vulcan coming out from the boys of Saw earlier on, and that could actually spell devastation if they did pick up a Vulcan with the turrets for the extra bounces, but instead they're going to go for the Raijin, so the core already locked in for Most Wanted here.
Raijin, Bacchus, Susano, good 3v3 car. However, the weakness, I would say, is the Raijin ultimate. The mobility is rather slow. This could be an opportunity for Aware to look for ways to exploit it.
Yeah, Boronic seems to be on the mark with those ultimates on Zeus too, so we can just drop it on the head of Clow in the mid lane. However, Freya banned out by Aware Gaming here. They're not wanting to deal with that Hunter, Freya.
Especially paired up with a Bacchus that can belly flop, or a burp belly flop would set up so much disruption in CC, allowing Freya to get off so much pot shots.
Odin and Sol are the final bans Most Wanted, focusing on Hunters as you come to expect out of them. They're not worried themselves about what Transonics can play over in the Hunter lane. He'll pretty much pick anything up, and he does like that Kronos.
He loves Kronos, he loves Hu Yi, he's not afraid of playing on her specifically, so you can't ban out this Hunter out of Most Wanted.
Aware with their first option, and they're going to go with Thor. You mentioned it was available, and they're going to lock it in. Potentially could have seen Ratatoska there, but I like that call once more from Aware. They've got double synergy to set up for the Zeus now. A bit of peel for him there as well.
It's a nice, safe option because the Athena can commit aggressively. Thor can as well if he wants to teleport to the double tap after the hammer for the Berserker Barrage, and Zeus follow-up damage. The burst potential onto the Raijin has to be so careful from Aware.
Well, Wolves is going to get tier this game, and we've seen the performances he can have on this god in the past as well. Respected as probably the best solo laner in North America and Europe, I guess, overall after the recent LAN. Wolves has really shown up before on that, and he's going to be up against the Ravana in the early stages.
The composition from Most Wanted, it screams that they're going to burn the Purification very heavily between Tier, Bacchus, Susano, the belly flop knockup, the pull from Susano, obviously the Blink or the Lawbringer from Tier. There's a lot of disruption for Most Wanted.
The most surprising thing is the Jing way pickup here for Aware Gaming. They may have seen some PC players in it most recently, and they're starting to see that it has got a little bit of utility to its name as well. Hoyi, though, for Transonics, and Hoyi still very strong at the moment in the meta.
And look at this. Teams are grouping up around the Fire Giant jungle, all of Aware Gaming, trying to get the aggressive wards. They want to be able to bail each other out. Transonics, though, he could get pincered here.
Well, he got 2 autos off for free.
He wins.
He wins the game.
That's it.
Right? That's it. That's
F6 now.
The rule of Hunters overall there. However, what I do see on this as well is the fact LayersOD has got Wrath for himself at the start of this game, which means they could look for a potential invade with this one. However, if he gets picked, he's relying on his ultimate and his hammer to get him out of danger.
The question is, did he get spotted out by the ward is more important. It could be an invade like we were talking about unless they got spotted out. It did seem that the ward covers it, so they spot out the Wrath on the Thor. They have to be prepared for it.
Yeah, they do, and it actually gives him a bit of an acceleration in the jungle as well in the early stages. Aware did take that last game round, though, when they did take on the boys of Saw, and that's where we saw that invade command. It looks like they're going to do it again. Look at this. Aware on the right-hand side, Thor and Raven going to start at the right-hand Harpies, and then look to invade is what they did last time in Saw Game 1, and it looks like they're trying to do the same thing.
It seems that Most Wanted, they spot this coming, so they're just going to do the counter invade, but Aware going to start the speed buff first with the Wrath. Gives them a lot of timing window to try to go for the solo lane right immediately.
Now, do you want the blue buff here as well, Tolly, or do you want to go and try and contest your own speed buff here? What would be the call for you?
You have your own ward, so it depends, because you could go for the blue and try to get control in the solo lane. I don't think that there's enough timing for this Tier and Susano, so overall a great play from Aware Gaming doing a double invade.
Well, they're going to take the speed buff for both these two teams here, but now there's an advantage for Aware Gaming where they could clear this wave out and deny it from Most Wanted on this right-hand side and actually put Wolves behind a little bit further on this side. Meanwhile, you saw Clow rotate from mid. By sharing that experience means his teammates do not hit level 2.
And the Zeus is going to be able to zone out those two members from Most Wanted back into the right side. Harpy's Tier is trying to make the rotation for those elementals, but a good job by LayersOD does secure. And now Dr. L doing a lot of poke. Wolves only level 1.
Only level 1, but what's his ability?
He's
That's
dead.
The question. I don't think he's got a fearless to get away from this one. He took power cleave, but at the same time, they're not going to be able to find the kill. The health potions and multi-potions paying dividends for the solo laner.
I thought he had Berserker Barrage available, but he must have used it for the Fire Giant elementals. And now, still level 1. Not that many health potions to take. It seems that wasn't able to secure those elementals at first. That would have been probably putting him at level 3 now.
Well, the problem is, though, is because they went aggressive there and didn't find the kill onto Tier, it means that Most Wanted's jungler, xCynosurex and Clow, have both hit level 3 now and got those right-hand Harpies, and they can look to contest the left ones as well.
If they're able to clear it out, but once they clear out this mid lane, they don't have the cooldowns necessary to really contest. It's going to be up to Aware to recognize it.
Left-hand side, you can see them taking this down Aware right now, but the Thunder Crash in will secure one for Clow, and here's some commitment from the boys.
They're taking a lot of poke after that chain lightning. The detonate xCynosurex very low, forced a jet stream away immediately. Now the pressure from Aware Gaming, they should be able to secure that last remaining left side mid Harpy.
But look at xBoronic again, didn't panic in the face of adversity. He did this in the first set against Saw Gaming as well. Stands there and bangs, and that's what you want out of a Zeus. He put a lot of damage out. Most Wanted will clear out the mid lane though, as round the corner one more time comes LayersOD on the Thor.
There's a nice attempt to try to look for the poke. Didn't really want to commit because he's only level 3. Level 1 hammer, level 1 Berserker Barrage, not enough damage to really find the kill in that scenario. Would have get turned on in a 2v1 spot.
Very true. Left-hand side, though, both the Hunters and Guardians, both level 4 right now, should be hitting level 5 relatively soon, more than likely towards the end of this wave if they're lucky enough to do so, and the trades are very even between the two.
I like what Koiz did there. Intercepted the dash from Athena, preventing her from getting to the archers and getting the shield wall completely grouped up on that wave.
Do you like what Koiz did as well? You know that gust that came out? He actually used it to give himself a disengage option. You can run through it to actually move yourself further away if you want to, but you do take a bit of a free poke for doing that.
So now Transonics hitting level 5. There could be a potential kill onto this Athena. If she dashes, I expect Most Wanted to immediately turn on this Athena.
Especially with Transonics being level 5. I think that's a big key there as well. Clara mid lane also level 5 at the moment, so it's going to continue to farming up. His teammate XCynosurex headed back to base down the Susano to get his full boots online, and LayersOD about to do the same thing.
Just a little bit faster on the Susano. Now speed buffs coming online. That's going to allow Most Wanted to go for their own because of the fact that Aware invaded it earlier, though they have to respect that Thor could be aggressive, especially with Dr. L getting lane pressure in solo.
And that's a crazy thing here now, isn't it? They both know when each other's buffs are available. They don't know when their owns are available at the same time.
Dr. L invading speed on his own. Susano got spotted out in the mid wave. The Athena ult should confirm this.
We will be able to bring it down just before XCynosurex gets there, and they get it straight to LayersOD. Great play. Now they're looking for the blue.
They still have the Wrath available on the Thor. They should be able to sneak this no problem. The Typhoon not going to be even used. They're going to give up the speed buff and blue. And now, Aware Gaming, they have their own buffs to go.
This is great mid lane. They're pressuring Xboronic one more time, who uses Purification well. The drums of war sounded, but Clow, well, he's not going to be able to kill anyone with those for the time being, and Xboronic just happy to walk away.
The counter engage, not really going to connect off the mark, but I like the idea that Most Wanted had to try to go on the Zeus that was left alone. Unfortunately, they were just not close enough to really commit that hard.
The big thing I can see out of Aware, Toli, it seems to be that they're very smart about tactically positioning themselves. They know when the teammates are in a different position that they're not going to get support, so they play it very safely. However, I was thinking Most Wanted were thinking about the speed buff there instead. This works out great for Aware Gaming. They get a good golden experience lead off this because they get their own speed and blue.
It would be very reckless for Most Wanted to try to invade that speed buff without Clow and XCynosure's ultimate, honestly. They would put themselves in a really awkward spot. The Thor could chase them back down with his own ultimate.
Yeah, very, very true indeed. 4 minutes in, though, still no first blood. We have seen aggression coming out from both Most Wanted and Aware Gaming in this one. Most Wanted won't be panicking too much, though. It's only a 200 gold lead for now. However, as the longer this game goes on, they can't keep losing these buffs, Toli.
That's true. You have to be very mindful about the aggression from Aware. You can't fall too far behind because Aware, they stole it once. Well, they didn't really steal because they traded it out, but they got their own speed buff, I think, afterwards. So actually, no, it was Cloud that made the rotation for their own speed, but the second time around was the most important factor. So now, Most Wanted, they have to be prepared for this third round of respawns and either go for the Gold Fury right away or get ready to defend their own buffs.
And you mentioned the Gold Fury. Well, Matt Koiz, we've not spoken about just yet on the Bacchus, has taken Wrath this game, which is a good answer to what LayersOD did with his Wrath in the jungle here. LayersOD not been exploited for having the Wrath so far in this game, though. Positioned it very well, and we've not seen any deaths yet because of that.
Well, Wolves is getting a little bit exploited by the aggressive Dr. L playing this Ravana. That's what you really want to do off of the invade. You shut down his jungle side. You're preventing him from getting the levels that he needs to have this sustained flexibility, and you're going to be able to out-rotate Wolves now.
And the way CaMeRxN is playing this as well, he's actually punching and disengaging quite often here, but takes a lot of poke from these archers. Got to respect it, and good overhead kick to avoid the Fearless from Wolves.
Great mechanics from Dr. L, being able to negate the combo from Wolves, and the teleport not available for Wolves for another 90 seconds. He's going to back, and okay, he canceled his back on the right-hand side, so this gives some opportunity for Aware to maybe bully out this tier.
Yeah, round to the left-hand side, go Aware Gaming. No Thor and Athena in tow, and they're looking towards the Gold Fury, expecting some backs. However, there's some more coverage down from Most Wanted, and they know exactly where they're all stood right now. So Cloud's just going to sit at the back and wait patiently, and when they all disappear, as they do now, and pull the Gold Fury, that's when you're going to have to see Most Wanted going, but look how fast it's going down.
Zeus ultimate being used. Raijin is here. It doesn't matter because gold goes to Aware. The taunt is going to zone away Cloud. Bacchus not in position to find the knock-up, and look at the clean disengage from Aware. They only committed the Zeus ultimate.
How is this team so good?
They're just capitalizing on any positional mishap from Most Wanted. They need to figure out a way to get back into this game in the soul lane. Dr. L was looking for the speed buff invade, and Typhoon used by XCynosurex.
Really wanted to secure that for himself, cost him his ultimate for it, but gets him the speed and the blue buff on this right-hand side, which means they do answer back to some of the gold lost last time round. But I say gold lost last time round, well, the Gold Fury got traded instead of these buffs this time.
Yeah, so I thought that it was going to be Most Wanted that would sneak the Gold Fury, while it was going to be Aware to invade the buffs this time around because of the Zeus burst damage, hitting level 9. Doesn't even have shoes of the Magi, just now finishing it for that before that Gold Fury.
A beautiful start coming out from Aware Gaming again against the #1 team in console league, completely in Europe in NA after the last tournament. We can clearly state that one, but they're up against it here. Aware Gaming off to a good start, and their composition is going to grow nicely as this game goes on too.
All it takes is throwing one little rock in the river, and that's exactly what Aware did. They slowed down the tempo of Cynosure and Wolves to go get their own blue and speed buff. That slight little advantage allowed Dr. L to get this one little level lead.
Torn onto Clow in the mid lane, going to get hit by a wall and a double tap too. Spin to win online, but he Thunder Crashes out for now. But chipped away at his health pool it did, and going to force him back to the safety of his tower.
Wanted to hold on to the purification as the response took that much poke. Has to go back to base though, so which gives some gold and experience advantage towards xBoronic.
It's funny as well to see Cloud choose that. He could have purified that immediately and avoided that poke to make sure he gets this wave. But if he does that, the next time round, maybe Thor ults him.
Exactly. The Thor would be prime opportunity, especially with Athena dash taunt at any given moment. So Most Wanted a little bit on the back foot now. Aware Gaming picking up the left side mids, taking advantage that Cloud had to back.
Well, there is a bit of a problem there. I saw Caves actually rotate to mid lane there instead, so he lost a wave to the tower for free, which means Wolves is going to get some free fall on the side. Wolves is quite far down at the moment, though, in terms of gold. There's 700 gold difference between the solo laners.
Especially after gold fear, but looks like Wolves trying to contest the blue buff on the right-hand side, though Athena ultimate was used.
And now he's going to get dunked on too. Lawbringer just a little bit too late to avoid it, and if Athena can close the gap here, they may be able to find the taunt as well. As Raven follows up too, Clow is in support, and they're looking towards Raven, who overhead kicks the Typhoon. The Drums of War, a different story, however, and with no further escape, he gets juggled in place, and Clow gets first blood for Most Wanted.
Unfortunately, Layers of Death and xBoronic were too busy farming in the mid lane. Great rotation from Most Wanted, capitalizing on the overcommittal by this Raven-Athena combination, and it was a good bait by Wolves. He went in, he contested the blue buff. L confirmed his own blue buff, but he just chased a little too far.
4v3 could be around this right-hand side here as the Fire Imps come online, but look at this, the focus is onto Thor, who got juggled to death, and that's what happens when you don't have purification, Tolly.
And it seems Most Wanted, they're grouping up now very efficiently, utilizing this Bacchus, like you mentioned. No purification on the Thor definitely hurts on a knocked up target. There's just too much confirmed damage. Even Raijin, without his ultimate, was able to really blow up this Thor.
Yeah, this mainly shows experience from Most Wanted more than anything else here. They've been behind before. They've struggled against teams when they've been behind, but now against Aware, that started the same way. They just know how to answer back a little bit more effectively.
Just got to group up. You know, they got Gold Fury snuck under their noses. You can guarantee that Most Wanted are going to be prepared for it this next time around. They're going to have some more vision to spot out Aware's aggressiveness.
Yeah, they've cauterized the bleeding in multiple roles so far. Wolves are obviously now level 11, caught up a little bit in gold. As we said, it was about 700 gold. Well, right now, it's going to drop below 300 as he takes that blue buff.
And going to be able to get some more once he rotates to the right-hand side. Bacchus backing in mid. Wants to hold it for Cloud that's coming back. Hitting now level 12 before Dr. L. He was one level behind, but now Wolves a level ahead.
And this is just the pressure he's managed to put out, as well as the fact that the blue buffs and the speed buffs were invaded. I'm surprised that Lil Cabe is a little bit further behind here, as Cloud in the mid lane farming up, looking for that level 12 so we can get the second relic online here. Still not panicking about his purification though.
Still not worried because when the initial taunt, the Thor was just too far behind to really follow up on the damage, and Thor getting off his own poke, and he's testing his damage onto this Raijin currently. The Dynasty Plate Helm is finished, which is why he's able to not take too much damage from this double tap and Berserker Barrage.
Well, left-hand side, so right-hand side, you may see some pressure into Wolves, but into the sky goes Thor, and Wolves saw this one coming a mile away. Lawbringer already used before the ult even connected with the ground.
Just great awareness from Wolves. This is what you want to do as a solo laner.
Zeus though under pressure here. xBoronic looking towards CynosureX, but around the corner comes Koiz, going to force out the purification. Typhoon did hit, but didn't get the knock up because purification still persisted.
I would have liked to see CynosureX hold onto the Typhoon a little bit longer up until the purification faded away. That initial knockup could have allowed the Bacchus to continue the dive to confirm the kill with Intoxicate.
Transonics surrounding this left-hand side. There was hunting out Jing Bei, who went into his jungle. Cameron did get spotted dead. I did notice that Kenshi not playing this game for Aware, unfortunately. It is actually going to be Forger Vulcan, so they've got a bit of a different composition this time around.
It's a different dynamic when you don't have your initial support to make the calls. On the left-hand side, ultimate for ultimate. Going to favor out Transonics because he should be able to keep bullying the tower on the left.
Surprised he keeps going, though, especially because he's got no cooldowns available here, but with a full minion wave, looking for the ricochet, delays the back one more time of Cameron there as the Gold Fury is now started by Most Wanted.
That's why he did that, because he wants to prevent the Jingwei passive from getting back into this team fight. Athena is going to bait out the nice chain lightning, but Matt Koiz, he's alone. Double tap was used trying to confirm the Berserker Barrage, and Matt Koiz walks away.
Great pressure onto Koiz, though, which is going to slow them down. Lil Capes with the rotation again, going to lose his blue buff to Wolves on the right-hand side for for this, however, but it does give a power play opportunity for Aware, knowing that Koiz has to go back to base.
The tier teleport is not available for another 65 seconds. Transonics taking so much poke. The hammer was devastating.
He's devastating, but not enough to get a kill. Now CynoSure around the back, trying to slow them down doing the Gold Fury, but Aware still paying attention to it. Lil Cabes does pick up Transonics, who stuck around a little bit too much. The drums are well used by Cloud, but the detonate better from xBoronic. He gets traded out, however, by Wolves.
Wolves doing a great job flanking from the bottom side already. Most wanted, losing 2, but they trade back 1 in response. And this is what we were talking about, the Zeus finding Cloud during his ultimate because he's so slow.
But this fight on the left-hand side, Typhoon does not connect there on to the Jing way, and neither does the Pull Purification. Just good enough. The wall will isolate CynoSure for now, and he's got no cooldowns right now. But the boys of Aware want to go back to base, it seems. They're not interested in taking this fight.
Dr. L has just been so efficient in these team fights, and he's not done yet. The Athena ultimate on top. Going to poke out Wolves ever so slightly. He doesn't have too much mana, but the blue buff should allow him to keep disengaging.
I think that's the key there as well. With the mana on the Ravana being so low, they've got to be so careful about how much they use here. Wolves as well will be able to limp away as Koiz just drops some wards and hangs around.
And this is a problem now because the tier teleport is coming up, but the Ravana doesn't have teleport available for another 60 seconds. So with Transonics coming back, Most Wanted, they could force this gold.
And they're going to start it up one more time here, Aware Gaming. Most Wanted and Koiz in the area. Going to spot it out. It's still very high, but the taunt to Transonics could spell a lot of pressure onto him once more. He's forced to leap out. However, Ravana, no mana here.
Tier was trying to teleport in the back, gets spotted out by the Jingwei Thor. Not going to be allowing that sort of rotation to happen, but this buys enough time for CynoSure to find the tier 1 on the right, taking a small objective.
This is a very good win for CynoSure and the boys of Most Wanted, just to answer back all the aggression around the Gold Fury there. They weather the storm around it, don't allow it to get dropped down, and instead find themselves a win with that extra 100 gold each.
And now back into base, CynoSure level 13 is going to pick up a second relic here, whereas they don't have the second relic for Layers of Death quite yet. He didn't back.
That's a good point. Layers of Death does need to go back to base soon. Only with Raph as well before a major team fight like this Gold Fury could spell disaster for him. But Wolves is going to keep him honest on this right-hand side here, not allowing him to get the speed buff for free, but a little bit worried about potentially extra aggression.
If I was Wolves, I would have definitely tried to contest that speed buff a little bit longer because of the fact that you still have teleport available. So even if you get poked out, or you, let's say hypothetically he dies there, that should give enough time for Most Wanted to stink the Gold Fury.
Yeah, very true indeed. Instead, everyone's just going to go back to farming again. The Gold Fury seems to have gone down, but Koiz goes in with a big flop and intoxicate there onto xBoronic. xBoronic doesn't really panic yet. Typhoon through. However, from Susano, he's on the mark, but it's not enough to get a kill yet. Cloud has arrived.
Cloud's arrived, trying to go into xBoronic, but a nice Sanctuary preventing that kill. Layers of Death finding Mad Koiz.
Now Cloud's in a walking position, and he's had to use Purification and Sanctuary to get away, but the boys of Aware are going to run him down. Wolves turns up, looking towards xBoronic, but the boys of Aware are with him. They're going to support their mid laner.
What a great taunt. Wolves not able to find the Fearless onto xBoronic, forced to disengage, has the Lawbringer trying to survive behind the Gold Fury, but it's going to get stunned out.
And they're still going to try and run him down as well. Great heal off the minions there coming out from Wolves, still being run down by 3. Berserker Barrage early to get some extra poke, but they realize they cannot catch that solo this time round. Crazy play.
Crazy play so far. It's been a 2-for-0. Trying to commit onto this Athena that doesn't have dash, but a nice wall going to prevent it. And now CynoSure, nice disengage behind the Gold Fury. He's going to get started out, but Vulcan has to be careful. He's so low.
He is so low. The Gold Fury pulled again, but wrapping around the back is Wolves one more time. Looking for a Fearless and a power cleave towards the Athena, who gets away from the danger. Gold Fury still going on here as the wall gets dropped down. Layers forced to retreat. Gold Fury still held. It could go either way, this Gold Fury, and it goes the way of Aware.
Aware get it. Wolves finding Vulcan so far. Cameron trying to disengage as best as he can, but the chat stream is going to be able to confirm it. How is Transonics still alive?
I have no idea whatsoever. 6-5 is the scoreline. Yes, the kills went the way of Most Wanted, but the gold went the way of Aware, and that's why you see experience one way, gold another.
But it's not done yet. They're going to be able to get this tier 1 mid tower, doing a great job. Wolves zoning away Dr. L. Clow, almost able to get the kill. So getting tier 1 mid, going for tier 1 on the left-hand side as well. Most Wanted, they're capitalizing so efficiently off of their kills.
2 whole towers out of that definitely evens things up and puts them in the lead completely in both experience and gold now. They both fall at the same time. Layers of Death on the left-hand side will catch CynoSure and Transonics lazy back in, but I don't think he's going to get in range in time.
Not at all. And Most Wanted have been a team of such seasoned veterans that they're not worried about Gold Furies being taken away from them because they're just always focused on, okay, they got gold, that's fine.
However, if we win the fight afterwards, we can get something back ourselves.
Exactly, and they didn't hesitate by getting the tier 1 mid, tier 1 on the left-hand side, and they didn't overextend by going for a tier 2 in either lane, really. They wanted to just be sure to maximize their farm.
Oh, good play from Wolves so far as well. He's been really distracting for the boys of Aware. They've chased him a multitude of times, which has allowed the Most Wanted boys to get themselves back in position and actually find those kills and those objectives. The Raijin Harpies will go the way of Aware there, level 12 now for the Athena. And
that's going to allow her to get that second relic, which is another big important factor. Not having that second relic for that team fight hurt Aware.
It did indeed. Transonics on the left-hand side, though. Transcendence fully stacked up against Cameron, who's gone for the Devourer's Gauntlets route. However, Chin-size power spike for that Jing Wei is huge right now. Bad news is he's got no tower to fall back to, and Most Wanted may look to exploit that on the left-hand side.
They were thinking about making the rotation, but waiting for those left side mids to respawn. xCynosurex and Matt Koiz going to clean it up. Clow left alone in a 1v1 spot. Thor and Zeus around the corner with Jing Wei on the left.
A little bit risky from Cloud being that far forward there, but he did steal away at least one of those balls on the left to make it worth his time. Mid lane, though, xCynosurex looked for the pull there onto LayersOD, but didn't manage to find it.
Not going to find that pull. And Clow, like we mentioned before, he likes to play aggressive. He's not going to be afraid to Thunder Crash into the enemy team. We saw it immediately in the left side mid Harpies when the game started. He went in 1v2, taking so much poke in return. And this is a strength and a weakness from Most Wanted and Clow.
Yeah, the funny thing is about Aware, from what I can tell from them now, their strength seems to be tactical advantages, looking for objectives at the correct time. But by doing that, their team fights aren't as strong as Most Wanted, who are a little bit more seasoned and experienced. And now the 1v1 fight is not going the way of Jing Bei.
Cameron just not able to disengage efficiently enough, using the gust onto, CaMeRxN in a lot of trouble, going to get knocked up. That's going to be a second kill from Most Wanted. Lawbringer over the top, onto the Zeus, getting juggled.
Fearless. And he didn't even use the purification there. He realizes in a lot of work, Boronic going to use the Sanctuary, however, as Athena comes in, Thor in the sky, but Boronic focused down and deleted already. Cloud with the Drums of War will keep him busy as LayersOD tries to get some good damage off the Berserker Barrage, but they all want him.
The sprint is used. He has speed buff. It's very difficult to lock down the Thor. Transonics making the rotation, though. Forger Vulcan going to get knocked up. One more in hand confirms it. That's 4 kills for Most Wanted.
Most Wanted on the rampage now. With 4 members dead, they can look for the tier 2 tower mid. Transonics happy to tank this up for his team for a second or two while they wait for some minions to come in. And this tier 2 tower is going to fall right hand side. You can see LayersOD being kept busy by Cloud.
Now the question is, what is Most Wanted going to get after this? Because the respawns are very short for Aware still. They can't really commit to this Phoenix. The buffs not really there. The Golfear not really there. Still a little early for Fire Giant, so just going to be very concerned about backing and getting those power spikes.
Yeah, I agree with that. The power spikes are really coming through. You can see Cloud with that Book of Tough already stacking up nicely in under 19 minutes here. And in his inventory, he should have a nice little chunk of gold there as well. But look at the experience between these two. 7,500 at 19 minutes in. It's not the biggest lead we've ever seen, totally, but it's very comfortable considering how well Aware started this game off.
Absolutely, though. Aware did slow down the start for Most Wanted by forcing them into awkward position by counter-invading, I guess you can call it. And as a result, Aware was able to sneak gold threes, but they just died too many times.
Well, Aware looked for a Fire Giant there for a second. However, now Most Wanted, only 3 members here. The taunt is good, and the ult in from Ravana good, and the Gust knock-up is going to slow him from Purification and Sanctuary too. Boronic gets a kill again. Transonics goes down, and still LayersOD chasing down with the wall, and Jing Wei will be a secure Koiz too. But now it's 2 versus 5.
Most Wanted, they're wanting to find a return kill. Now going to commit onto the Zeus. Cloud forced to retreat under his tower. What a great play from Aware. They forced the rotation from Most Wanted. They were caught in a 5-on-3, and as a result, that taunt into the Wingus is what allowed Aware to really win that one.
Cloud's going to be a little bit careful here. No purification available for him. If he gets rooted, he's in a lot of trouble, especially with a taunt following up too, and the wall straight after. Sanctuary used, though. Still alive, and will Thunder crash away, but waiting around the corner was Athena, and immediately jumps in LayersOD to allow Little Cabe to get the kill. Aware will get a tier 1 tower here.
Wolves was trying to find the Fearless on the back, but a nice purification from Cameron prevents them getting juggled into the tier 2, so immediately Aware respond with tier 1 in mid. They're going to continue the pressure on tier 2, but they don't have any minions.
Wolves going to stop the back of Athena. Very wise there to make sure he can't ult back into this fight with full health again. And all Wolves is doing here is buying time for his respawns to come through and keep his tower standing.
Wolves so low after that detonate. The Typhoon going to save him, though. Cameron doesn't have the purification, overstepped some boundaries, and now Most Wanted with xCynosurex having this much mobility. He's going to be on the aggressive side.
And what happens there? They get a tier 1 tower, they don't get anything else. Most Wanted kept them busy. That was all it was. Cloud may have died, but he was like, okay, well, you're not going to get anything else. And now the respawns have happened, and Aware have overstayed their welcome, and they're getting punished for it.
Dr. L, no ultimate, nowhere to go. That's going to be another kill once xCynosurex finds it. Transonics gets credit. 3 members still alive for Aware. Gold Fury has respawned. Most Wanted have the option of either going for gold or fire.
Well, I will say Aware are definitely in contest now for potentially being a very top team in North America and competing with the best of them right now, especially with his performance against Most Wanted. They've got a lot to learn though, Toli, and you can kind of see those issues that they've got to work on going forward.
Absolutely. Mechanically, they've been on point. It's just unfortunately dying after these objectives. Golfier being started by Most Wanted. They want to confirm it. Vulcan trying to get some poke set up onto Cloud. The detonate confirms it.
Yeah, I guess it killed onto Cloud, but the Gold Fury goes the way of Most Wanted to continue the gold lead. Love the fact that over on the right-hand side, Wolves made sure Thor couldn't get to that fight with that Wrath that he had available. Wolves did what he can and just continuing to split push and apply pressure around the map.
You have to be able to split the forces of Aware Gaming to allow yourselves a free Gold Fury, because if you don't get gold, at least you're going to get the tier 2 on the right, so great mentality from Wolves.
Nice little juke out there from Wolves to avoid that amazing little wall that came down, and he's not going to get the speed buff though, because LayersOD did a good job with the Berserker Barrage. I don't think he's going to find a kill though on tier.
No, he's just going to distract the Thor because he wants to be able to get him out of the tier 1 left-hand side. It's only Transonics defending it though, unfortunately, against those 3 from Aware. It's a nice little objective sneak by Aware.
Yeah, good opportunity to take that tower down, especially when knowing that the 5-gen isn't being looked at right now between these two. 23 minutes in, been a very high kill game between the two, but Most Wanted definitely have control.
A lot of back and forth action, a little bit of a comeback from Aware experience-wise. They were down 7,500. CynoSurex taking a lot of poke. Fire Giant aggro on him. He's going to get knocked up.
He took a lot of free poke from that one, and Ravana walks away without hardly a scratch to his name off the back of that too.
Not going to be able to really get anything off of the Susano being this low, however. The objectives are all basically done, except for Fire Giant. It's 23.5 minutes into the game. Aware, they do have some burst potential between the Wrath and the Zeus detonate, though.
But they're looking for ward coverage there. Athena trying to ward up against Tyr and being pressured out a little bit as Thor gives a little bit of PO duty once more. Koiz heading back to base for more sentries, realizing it's very important to control that 5-giant pit.
And Athena's been playing really on point with her taunt, setting up XBoronic for those easy detonates. We saw around the Gold Fury earlier on. Cloud, he didn't respect the burst, didn't use the purification. He was so... This whole game, that's been a theme for Cloud. He hasn't been using purification.
You know, we've seen XBoronic here in the mid lane, Toli, as well, right? On this Zeus. Third game we've seen him play it in a row. He's top player damage again, which shows he's having a very good game, even though he's died 3 times. I'm a little bit worried that what his God pull's like, because at the moment it looks great from that angle for the time being with how much he's done, but can he do it with other things?
Cloud gonna get dove on by Dr. L, forced to use both relics. Thor coming, landing down. Koiz gonna get juggled around. Typhoon dissecting the team fight.
And Cloud is just keeping Ravana busy. Forced to ultimate now, however, though, and the damage onto Jing Wei. Why is Jing Wei so deep? He really wants to kill, and Jing Wei's gonna fall down. Cameron, what were you doing, my friend? Well, the rest of the team now follows through. They're still looking for Cloud. They get the mid laner, but at what cost?
XBoronic taking some poke from CynoSurex in the back. Transonics finding the double tap through the wall, forcing the Sanctuary, and now Vulcan gonna die as well.
And they get collapsed into an awkward position here. Thor forced out. Athena on the left-hand side. Sorry, Ravana on the left-hand side. Athena's already fallen. Ravana trying to survive, but will get stunned one more time, keeping him as busy as he can, duking him out for the time being. Meanwhile, Thor on the right-hand side being chased down by CynoSurex.
Rotation from Transonics, not going to find the stun this time around. Good job just buying a lot of time, Dr. L. CynoSurex not able to find the Thor. Jet streaming back into the tower just to try to get it. Look at the wild goose chase that Cal... What
a crazy play. Good work coming out from Ravana. I could just see that one coming as it was going. I'm like, oh god, he's never going to die.
Not at all. Thor holding on to his tier 2 on right. However, the rotation from Cameron, nowhere for Wolves to really go. His Lawbringer's down.
And now he's going to get hit by an Athena as well. The Tong going to come out. He tried to sustain off it, but it's going to be too little too late. Ravana bought his team so much time with that little skirmish in the jungle that now they have a power play. 53 seconds left on Wolves respawning now.
They're going for fire immediately. No hesitation. CynoSurex, he has to stake around just in case. That Typhoon is going to be so important in this skirmish.
Yeah, very important indeed, but it's going to be up to what Most Wanted can do to defend this now. It's all about peel for Aware, though. They need to make sure they've got Athena and Ravana on the front side, and oh, this pick is big.
He got spotted out from behind. It's a free kill, and now that's 2 members there from Most Wanted. This Fire Giant is going to be so important. The Bacchus, Koiz, he has to find the right timing to be able to Wrath steal it, and it's going to be hard because there's a Wrath on the opposite side and a Zeus detonate.
Well, Cloud, Transonics, and Koiz are the 3 remaining members of Most Wanted. Fire Giant started here, and they're all at different angles. angles. Koiz will be the first one in, and Koiz has Wrath, remember. I hope the boys of Aware recognize this, as we will see Clow fall down. The Fire Giant is still being looked at by the two teams here, and it's getting low. Koiz goes in for the steal. He doesn't find it, however. They collapse on him. Aware Gaming get the Fire Giant. They're taking it to the #1 team in North America.
And McCoy is going to fall, and that's going to be 3 members still dead as we have the respawn coming from Wolves. So now, Aware, Fire Giant onto all 5 members. Transonics is caught in between us, rock in a hard place.
And the place is now ended as well. The hard place was the Gust, that's the main thing. Now 15-15, Fire Giant on the side of Aware Gaming now at 27 minutes in. They can start to get a gold lead off this because it's about to respawn the Gold Fury, and there's plenty of towers for them to chip down at too.
Wolves did push out the mid tower, which forces the rotation from Cameron. The passive going to allow her to come back quickly, but not really there to push out this right side Phoenix.
Who is this team, man? Who is this team?
They're Aware.
They're very aware,
and they're
quite
gaming.
Clearly. They were amigos. The amigos who are aware, that's what it is right now. Tier 2 tower on the right does fall down. They start to swing towards mid lane here. Jing already pushing things in there on the side of Cameron. And I'll say Cameron is a little bit aggressive, but he's working out well for his team.
So far, so good for the side of Aware Game. And we saw Cameron try to dive Clow around the speed buff in that one time. Didn't get a chance to use her ultimate off, but now this time still able to make the comeback because Wolves overstayed his welcome on the left. Trying to dive Dr. L for so long under the tier 2 with no Lawbringer. That's the turning point, I would say, for Aware.
Completely agree with that. Now they're starting to strip everything away. The red buff was looked at as well there for a second by Aware Gaming. They're going to get a Gold Fury here. Meanwhile, Most Wanted all down the right-hand side here, just trying to farm up and potentially look for this tier 2 tower.
They're expecting Aware to go for a tier 2 on the left, positioning themselves for the tier 2 on the right, but immediately to respond, Aware, they don't want to trade. They want to make sure that they keep Most Wanted defending at all times.
It's funny, it was more timing that than anything, totally, because you saw them pushing down the right because they were waiting for him to do Gold Fury and then appear in the left-hand lane. They never appeared in the left-hand lane, so they did the right call and headed back to base so they don't get caught overextended.
Especially with the global presence from Thor, Jing being able to make that rotation in the solo lane makes it very difficult for Most Wanted to really commit without the vision necessary.
I'm calling ban Zeus next game. Even if we do see Most Wanted win this, you either ban or take Zeus away from them. That's what you kind of have to do. I want to see what else xBoronic will play in this mid lane, because at the moment his Zeus is fantastic. We've seen it all 3 games, but it's making so much of an impact. Just 20k player damage is insane.
It's just more about being careful at every stage of the game. We see the rotation from Transonics able to clean up some of these team fights in the earlier stages of the game, but then late game, you cannot be caught and get isolated from your team. I still think the composition from both teams is pretty solid. Zeus is good enough to the point where you could potentially ban him, but then you might give up too much in return.
Well, they're clearing up wards in the jungle Aware Gaming, making sure they can't get spotted on these rotations through that mid lane. Ravana mid lane, Doctor doing what he can to keep them pinned down as the rest of his team start to siege the left-hand Phoenix at the same time. In goes the taunt from Vulcan, but so do the boys at Most Wanted.
Wolves diving the backline, forcing out the purification. Zeus ultimate dissecting the team. The rest of Most Wanted going back under their Phoenix, but the Thor says, no, you don't.
Well, LayersOD is a little bit too low to continue that one there, but I love what Cameron did. He protected his Zeus, peeling for the other carry, and now Koiz is a little bit far forward, but the drums hit 3, and they're going to force a couple of relics out of the boys of Aware Gaming.
They're going to be able to chase this down. Transonics trying to do what he can, zoning out the team, forced to jump back in, trading his ultimate and buying time. This is all what Most Wanted need to do. They're down 8,000 gold. They just need to burn out these relics and buy time. As long as nobody dies, they win.
Well, they wasted a lot of ultimates there, both teams, and now with the Fire Giant regenning this side of Aware Gaming, because they're all standing, they can look for aggression again. Purification now forced on Clow.
A nice little belly flop, but the Jingwei able to use the agility away. There's nowhere for the Athena to go. She gets pulled back in, and that's going to be a kill. Mad Koiz, though, traded in the back.
Support for support, so some front line down, and Aware Gaming really relying on that Athena there for those taunts. Now they're going to have to look to Thor with these walls to really try and initiate for their team.
Zeus going to do a lot of damage off of those Thor walls. Has to be so careful. Transonics going to get rooted. The Lawbringer in the back going to go onto Zeus.
And Zeus is juggled in the air for a long time, and he will fall down before really getting any real damage off. Transonics now going in, looking for the kill potential to Layers, forcing him up, but in goes the Doctor. The Doctor picks up Transonics as Layers gets out 2. 2 members remain for Aware, 3 for Most Most Wanted, and they're looking for the solo.
They're not going to have the ultimate. Dr. L is going to get juggled. That's 4 kills. Not only do they defend their Phoenix on the left-hand side, but they're able to be on top of that team fight, only losing 2.
A crazy fight between these two teams right now. 31 minutes in this game, 19-17. Fire Giant has gone. The Fire Giant is no longer on any member of this team. It's about to respawn one more time. And with Most Wanted holding those Phoenixes, that is the best defense in a while we've seen.
It was good patience from Most Wanted. They didn't allow this Athena to find the necessary dash taunt that she really wanted to. She had to go really past that Phoenix initially just to find Transonics, but the Thor, he wasn't even close enough to really follow up after that. Transonics was holding on to his purification for a while at the better stage of the team fight.
Well, World Wars are about to begin. Koiz here looking for the stun, but Layer's going to wall him off to make sure Athena gets out. However, Most Wanted will control the ward department of the Fire Giant for the time being, which will buy more time for Wolves to push out that left lane.
Cameron flying back into this team fight. Dr. L responding in 5 seconds, has teleport, which makes it very difficult for Most Wanted to really force a play with that one-man disadvantage. So now all 5 members from both teams are alive. Fire Giant has respawned. 6,000 in the lead is Aware Gaming, but it's not to a point where you have to disrespect Most Wanted and just Fire Giant in front of their faces.
You can't just ignore them. They will come in, and they do have a Wrath on Matt Koiz as well. He is only level 16, however, but that's not a really big influence in this. The flop going to play a lot in this game as well as the time goes on.
Jing Wei, it has to be the power play for Aware Gaming with this Zeus. You have the taunt and the Thor stun to set up the Zeus damage. Jing Wei is going to be doing so much damage off of her steroid.
Well, you saw the ricochet come out there from Transonics, but overhead kick in response from the Doctor. Now Koiz forced out with the flop, but Athena to follow up. Taunt online. Wolves are on the back though, looking at xBoronic to keep him busy, but the Zeus ultimate is doing its work, and Layers gets one, but the wraparound from Most Wanted is good. Cloud takes out xBoronic.
The Typhoon was good enough to set up Cloud for that easy kill onto xBoronic. Thunder crashing back under safety because Dr. L really is diving the Lawbringer, forcing everyone from Aware away.
They want Jing Wei, but she uses the knock-up to get herself away for a second. Not long enough. xCynosurex closes down. LayersOD going back to base, as meanwhile, you can see the Doctor trying to get out, but still being run down by Cloud.
Wolves, Cloud, Transonics, they're still on the hunt. xCynosurex on the right-hand side, trying to chase down this Athena. Meanwhile, Transonics almost able to stop the back.
And he gets out, but the tier 2 tower on the right-hand side, Most Wanted, realize they can chase on and keep them busy. Teleport coming through, however, and the teleport will go through, so Doctor's back in this fight.
He doesn't have Lawbringer available to disengage from this, but going to be able to juggle as the tier 2 tower falls. And I like the patience from Most Wanted. They're not going for fire because Thor still has Wrath available.
And Transonics started the Fire Giant already. Layers of Death. His ultimate is available for him here once more, so he could potentially look for this if he wants to. He's waiting patiently, and Athena coming back and going to force Clow out. Layers is there though. Double tap did not connect, which means he bought time for the Sanctuary to come through. In hand is good enough though, as meanwhile in the back, Transonics forced out and Layers is in the sky.
Thor lands down, not on the mark for Transonics, but no jump available. Nice juggle from Wolves, trying to buy time for Transonics, but he goes back in. He wants to get some hits off.
And Transonics is going to fall down to the Berserker Barrage. The power is just too much from this. The skirmish is insane between the two. Wolves looking for Layers of Death here, and Layers of Death needs some support from his team, getting it for a moment. Koiz, now in out of position himself, needs to flop away when it's available.
The taunt going to confirm a lot of damage from the Zeus after the detonate, but a nice belly vault preventing all the stacks from being there.
Totally. Fire Giant is still up. Aware Gaming have an opportunity, I guess, but Wolves is not allowing it. He's actually looking for the pick here onto Ravana. He's going to ult away, but the Fire Giant is only at 70%. That Lawbringer was very early from Wolves. Now we'll see the Fire Giant there, but the Zeus ult from xBoronic was on point to zone him out. Wolves still looking at the backside as Koiz does fall to xBoronic.
A nice detonate. Cameron forced to use the ultimate away carefully. Here comes Layers of Death back into it. Wolves has to be so careful because the Zeus and agility is good enough after the taunt.
Oh, but he turns it back and finishes it one more time. Taunt, however, will deny him the escape route. Cameron credited the kill. Only Clow remains. The Fire Giant reset. Clow is on his way, but can he get here in time?
No, absolutely not, because xCynosurex died earlier on the top-hand side. Layers of Death was able to find the clean kill onto that one. Now Aware Gaming with the Fire Giant for the second time this game. They need to figure out a better way to initiate this time.
Completely agree with that one. And now Cloud forced back to base here. Transonics on defense duty. Aware they can strip the jungle first of all and just push all these minions in if they want. But they're looking at mid lane first of all. They want this middle Phoenix.
With the the respawn timers from Most Wanted. They have the window. Matt Koiz just now respawning, and this mid Phoenix is dropping very quickly.
Yeah, they will get the mid Phoenix, but I don't think they'll commit any further on this side. However, going left is a bit risky. We've had no minions for a long time, and the respawn's starting to come through. We will see a defense out of Most Wanted.
They popped the shell trying to tank this Phoenix. It's going down pretty quickly. Cameron still onto it, not wanting to commit after the Hu Yi ultimate. Just, it would have put too much pressure because the Zeus damage, you have to respect it at this phase, especially with fire.
Aware Gaming could beat Most Wanted here after already beating Saw today, at least in this first game. And with what they did there, I love their decision. They take Phoenix and immediately dip. They don't hang around there totally. They could have stuck and tried to fight that one out, but it could have cost them more. Instead, they will take what they got, take a Gold Fury, and go back and spend all this lovely gold in hand.
So much gold in hand. Looking at the Thor, already at 2,800. It's just great awareness
for Aware.
For Aware Gaming.
The Amigos are very aware today, 23 to 21. 10k gold lead at this stage with 2 Phoenixes down, and that Fire Giant buff Tolly is going to last for a couple more minutes just yet.
And this is going to allow Aware Gaming to start grouping up for the right-hand side after getting all 6 items for every single god. They just have to wait for some of these important relics. Looking at the Zeus and Thor specifically, the Sanctuary for 30 seconds.
Completely agree. 36 minutes in, as we said, and just going to strip their own jungle, get the speed in blue, and then start to push this wave in with them here on the right-hand side. I like the idea of the Doxy going left, just to make sure these lanes don't, you know, get pushed out too far here, Tolly.
He has the teleport. He has 2 fire minion waves behind him. He could force out Clow in a sticky situation because Dr. L, as long as he avoids that initial burst like he did there, that's going to allow him to continue the dive if he wants to.
I look what we saw at Doc today. He was running into a wall, not because he lagged out or anything, but he had his scoreboard open quite clearly as he was running, so he could just see where everybody was, what they'd bought and things, and just as he turns around and takes his scoreboard, he says, oh, Clow's here, and so he disengages with the overhead kick.
Well, casually just walking away, still pushing out left-hand side while the rest of his team is grouped up on the right. Thor looking for the in-between mid and right-hand play. That's what you see a lot of junglers do, just waiting around that corridor for the setup.
Now, even though Aware have a very dominant position here, Most Wanted can come back and end. One team fight could wipe either team and turn this game on its head. Full build for absolutely everyone in this game.
Dr. L doing a good job keeping Transonics honest by defending this Titan. That's what you really want to do, this late game Hunter being distracted.
Well, the tanks are taking the brunt of the damage from Aware Gaming here, but Transonics took a lot of poke, as did Clow, which means Aware Gaming can get this Phoenix on the right-hand side for free. The Most Wanted boys trying to siege them back out of the base a little bit here, and Aware regrouping nicely.
And I love the patience from Aware on Dr. L. He didn't commit to either of those 2 kills onto Cloud that disengaged. So much damage, his Thunder Crash barely able to keep him alive.
He will get back to base, but Baronic drops the ultimate onto the Titan with a minions taking a part of this too. They're looking to end. The drums from Clow, however, are getting a lot of burst damage off. The Titan still stands for now, but not long enough. Aware Gaming take another game in the SCL.
These guys are here to play. Aware Gaming upsetting the #1 seed out of North America in SCL.
I mean, Saw was a bit of a shock, but we could understand it at the same time. But beating Most Wanted.
A very impressive play from Aware Gaming, just even being able to get invaded on from the beginning of the game. They were still on the roll. Like, they found the initial invade strategy to disrupt Most Wanted's flow. They were starting to come back into it, Most Wanted, after they found the kills, but this didn't deter Aware Gaming away at all. They found some answer kills of their own and objectives.
There's small mistakes from them, though, but overall, like, the mechanics in the team fight seem very, very strong. The juggle of aggro seems very, very good. The shot calling seems to be very on point as well. These are the things that you don't normally see from a very new team to the Pro Leagues.
And what's most important is the fact that they're able to exploit Most Wanted. Whenever they find the kills, they know what they can get afterwards, which makes it the difference between a mid-level team and a top-tier team.
Completely agree. Well, they divide themselves into a very high contention here. They get 1 point from that. That puts them on 4 so far, but there is